What's going on, guys? I told you all in the last video that we did have some Supra parts and everything coming. In fact, it's the last couple that we need to actually finally get this thing on the road. So one of those arrived today. So we're going to go ahead and unbox that really quick. I do have some place to be here in a couple hours, but after we get back, then we'll go ahead and install it and maybe, fingers crossed, actually get this thing fired up today. So let's check it out. Put it all right about there. Cool. Screwdriver. One of the best tools for cutting tape. So in this magical little box, we have our brand new custom wiring harness. I think what I'll do is take you guys out of the gimbal right quick just so y'all can get a better view. Give me 1 second. Alright, here we go. Check it. I gotta say, this looks super duper good. Everything's all labeled. Got my firewall connector right here. Let me put you guys down. I'll get this all out for us. Alright, so first up, this right here is the firewall connector. Alright, I had him do this in raw finish. They did call me, didn't have these things already anodized or anything like that, and I told them raw finish is perfect. That way I can go ahead and get it powder coated any color I want to, which is really cool that they even offered that. I'm really excited. But this part goes down in and connects to the ECU. This here is for either a CAN display or a flex fuel sensor. Not really sure which yet, but we'll figure it out. Got body connectors. We got all the appropriate ProEFI connections. Got ourselves a relay, body connector, and our ground. Alright guys, so here we got the engine bay side. Obviously we got our big old cannon plug right here. We got connectors for all of our coils for the IGN-1As. This here is going to be our wideband O2 sensor, Lambda 2. Coming over to this side, we got all of our body plugs as well as the AC unit. And then down here we got our IAT, intake air temp. Over here we got our iBoost connection. Coming over here, they did let me know ahead of time that they ran out of the connections for the oil level sender. So I told them just go ahead and send it without the connector on it, and I'll go ahead and pin it. I'll just pull the connector off the old one. It's not a big deal. It takes like 5 seconds. So I really appreciate them calling me ahead of time just to let me know that. It really helps out. That's really great that they did that. All of our injectors are labeled too. That's fantastic. Look at that. You got injector 1, you got flex fuel. Perfect. Oh man, this is great. I'm so excited. Alright, let me throw you guys back in the gimbal really quick. Alright, so that's just kind of a quick look at the wiring harness. Like I said, I got some place to be here in about an hour or so, so we're going to go ahead and get this installed after I get back. I am going to go ahead and get the camera and everything set up. Probably just put you guys on time lapse, that way you're not bored. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get this installed. Hopefully get it fired up. If it's not too late tonight, I'll probably go ahead and try to fire it up. Otherwise, I mean, if it's 9-10 o'clock, I don't want to go waking up my neighbors with a small earthquake. So that'll be that. I'm really excited about this. I cannot wait to get this installed. Other than that, I mean, really the last little couple of things we're going to need for the Supra after we get this thing installed. I don't know what else we need. We need to get the alignment done. I need to get it tuned. I think that's about it. So really, this is the last piece. We just need to get this thing thrown in, get the old one thrown out, and schedule a tuning appointment with Reed and Larry up at Sound Performance in Chicago, and we should be off and running. I'm really excited about it. I cannot wait to get this in. So let me get it set up, and I will see you guys here in a bit. So part of the reason I decided to call up Cam and the guys over at Tweak Performance and just have them do me up a custom harness is because really I didn't have time to go and do it. Between running around, all the personal stuff I got to take care of, work, I really just didn't have time to go through and measure all the wires and make sure I got the right pins and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So figured I would leave it to the professionals instead of trying to go through and do it myself and rush it or take way too long and have this thing be down for another 12 months. Just go ahead and pay those guys, have them knock it out for us really quick so we know it's done right the first time. You can put it in the car, get it fired up, ready to roll, and then off to Sound Performance for tuning. So that was kind of my game plan for that. I had him go through and do a couple of custom tweaks. I did have him go through and put in the VVTi plug just in case I decided to go VVTi later. They added an oil pressure sensor for me, which I have not yet added into the ECU. What else? One thing that I really liked that they have the ability to do is to go through and do custom lengths and everything like that. So if you tell them where your sensors already are, they can go through and measure it out. For example, the boost solenoid is over on the passenger side shock tower. I had them go ahead and wire up the proper length for that, so that's ready to go. Had them do the IAT intake air temp sensor down in the driver's side intercooler piping area. They went and added length and everything for that, so that's not an issue at all. That's really just going to go and plug right in. Be super duper simple, plug and play. Really excited about it. I will give you guys a full review after this, but for right now, I just wanted to give a shout out to the guys over at Tweak Performance. Cam, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for getting this thing done. It's a quick, fast, and in a hurry, and keeping in constant contact with me throughout the process. It was a really great customer service experience, and I cannot wait to get this thing installed. I'm so stoked. Alright guys, we're going to jump to the install portion of this video now. For any of you that have not installed or removed or whatever your wiring harness from your Supra, 2JZ, whatever, this is kind of a little walkthrough tutorial on how to do it. I'm going to go and throw you guys on time-lapse probably, and then just kind of cut in and out between whenever I got something that you should probably know. So here we go. This is my tripod, by the way. So in order to remove this thing, the first thing we're going to want to do is disconnect the battery. I'm not going to show you that because that's stupid. Everybody knows how to disconnect a battery. But right under here, we got to go and pull this off. Underneath there is going to be the ECU. And then coming over here, there's one bolt on either side of that firewall connector there. And then you got 2 and 3 over there. So there's 4 bolts total. All right, that you're going to go and pull off along there. After that, the coil harness is going to go up along here, right along the engine coils there, and then the rest of it's going to come up and over here. So we're going to need to go and pull off obviously the tower bar and the upper intake manifold, and then we're going to go through and disconnect the injectors and pull off this guy right here, because there's also a piece of harness that runs up and across over there, and then down over here to the alternator side. So I know that probably didn't make a whole lot of sense. You guys will see a little bit more as I'm going along. I'll kind of point out things in a little bit more detail, but that's just kind of a rough explanation on how to do it. So pull the connectors from the ECU, pull it through the firewall, disconnect the intake manifold side, and then it'll go up and over across the front of the motor, and then just disconnect it from that side, and obviously the coils and stuff like that too. So super simple, shouldn't take too long, but yeah, let's get started. Now for this, obviously we got our jumper harness here for the factory stuff. So factory connections are over here, jumper harness, and then this mess gets connected to the ProEFI. So all that is going to be going away once we get the new harness from Tweaked installed. So let's keep on going. One of the things we're going to need to do on the new harness is pull the fan connector from the old harness and then put it on the new one. This car is running the IS300 fans, so I do have the ProEFI controlling the high-low setting on it. And those are plugged into, I'm going to come right over here, plug J2B. It is pins 9 and 17, 10 and 17, something like that. 10 and 17. So here and here. So we got to go and pull these out of here and then put them into J2B on the new harness in the same little pinhole. So we're going to do that now. Alright, so my light died rather quickly on that one, but we just unpinned the J2B connector on the jumper harness and then plugged that in right over here. In order to lock and unlock these connectors, take a flathead screwdriver, push the side that's not poking out already, push that out, you'll hear a click, and then it goes and protrudes about yay much, and so I don't know if you heard that or not, but it clicked, and now it's flush. I know this connector's locked in here, so that bit's good to go. And I need a new battery. Alright guys, so now that we got the ECU side of the house done, we're going to go through and pull off the engine bay side, get that thing resituated. There are a couple other things I got to go through and pin in on the cockpit side, or whatever you want to call it, the ECU side, after the firewall. So there's a couple other things we got to take care of in there. But for right now, we're just going to go ahead and put you guys on my little makeshift tripod here, put you on time lapse, and get to rolling. Alright guys, so for the intake manifold part, there are two nuts right here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts along there. We do have to go and disconnect the fuel lines on the return. Throttle position sensor over here has to be unplugged. And then, if we flip it over here, be careful not to land on my gauge. Right here goes and connects to the cylinder head, got to unbolt that. This here is our map sensor, got to unbolt that. These two were here from the previous owner, I don't know what he was doing there. And then obviously we got our idle air control valve right here that we also need to go and unplug. But other than that, after you disconnect the throttle body coupler, it'll just go and pop right off. What you're left with is this here. Alright, so we've already disconnected that part. We can actually go through and pull those plugs the rest of the way through on the far side. We've unbolted this stuff right here, and now we need to go and disconnect this whole mess, and then it's gonna run up through here onto the other side as well. Once we unplug that side, we can flip this over, unplug this here, and then unplug all those 6, and then it'll be ready to pull right out.
So broken, I felt something was wrong. I think I'm in love, 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 I'm in love with you. I'm in love with you. Ooh, I'm in love with you. I think I'm in love, 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 I'm in love with you. I'm in love with you.
Alright guys, so there you have it. This here is the old wiring harness from the car. Overall, it took about, I'd say, an hour and a half to go and pull out. It would have been faster. I just had some stuff routed kind of weird, so that took me a little bit longer. Overall, as far as removing it goes, it really wasn't too bad. I mean, on a scale of 0 to hard, I'd rank it probably a 4. There were a couple of connectors on the transmission that were a little bit difficult to reach, and pulling the knock sensors off was also very difficult. So with the oil cooler and everything, especially if you have a factory oil cooler in the car still, having that stuff in the way just kind of makes it a little awkward, and bending over and whatever else, I don't know. But yeah, overall it wasn't too bad. So now that we got the new harness removed from the car, we need to go through and swap over some of the other stuff from the jumper harness to the new harness that'll be on the cockpit side of the firewall. Alright, so this here is basically what we did. I took the firewall connector off, and then we wrapped this up around here. I've already started taking it off, which is why it's so loose. But so once you go and wrap this around here, you can go and pull it up this little chimney looking thing. Pull it up and out of there. We're going to go through and reattach the firewall plate, and then bolt it down, and then top side will be all good to go. So let's go ahead and do that. Install coming soon. Alright, so now that we've got the inside all buttoned up, it is time to move on to the engine bay. Pro tip, guys, these are called cannon plug pliers. They definitely make it a lot easier in the event that you need to go and rotate either the receptacle or the plug itself. So, FYI. Alright guys, so I stumbled across a bit of a technical problem here. The factory wiring harness gets routed down here underneath the intake runners, and it goes and bolts onto the lower runners here. So that's the way I had it routed originally. However, if I do that, then the injector clips are super duper tight, which I really don't like too much. The map sensor doesn't reach, and the idle air control plug, they're on here somewhere, wherever that went. Anyway, there it is. This one doesn't reach the idle air control valve either. So I think what I'm probably going to do, because I tried routing it underneath and I tried routing it on top here, and if I route it on top, then none of the lower stuff, like none of the knock sensors or anything will fit. But if I go and route it underneath, then none of the rest of that stuff fits. So I think I came up with a solution though. What I'm going to do is go through and cut these off, these 3 zip ties here, and then peel back some of this looming, okay? And then give myself an extra probably 2 or 3 inches of slack on each of these. And I think, theoretically, that should go and solve my problem. And then I can go through and route it underneath the intake runners here like it's supposed to be. So that is my game plan right now. And hopefully that fixes the issue. guys, so after the better part of way too long and 3 t-shirts later, we are finally done with the Tweak Performance wiring harness install on the Supra. Overall, I'm really glad I did it. Having a mil-spec firewall plug is definitely going to be handy in the event that I need to pull the motor again. Couple of things I would probably recommend to you guys if you are thinking about doing this. Number 1, if you're doing a custom wiring harness, I would probably recommend doing it at the same time that you either install your standalone EMS or if you're pulling the motor. If the motor's already out, it's a whole lot easier to go and get all the plugs and everything installed. Having the oil cooler in the way was a little bit hard getting to the knock sensors and things like that. So having the motor out would definitely make things easier. Doing it at the same time you install your standalone would be immensely helpful, specifically because that way you don't have to do the wiring twice. One of the things that I regret doing, and I'd probably change if I could go back however many years ago it was that I installed the ProEFI, I don't even remember now, 4 or 5, something like that. But if I could go back 4 or 5 years and then label all the things on my jumper harness, that would have helped me out immensely, because I didn't do that, and that's part of what kind of hung me up and took a little bit of extra time, because I had to go back and trace the wiring, look at the pinouts, figure out what went where, and then go and adopt that over to the ECU side of the harness. So if you are going to use a jumper harness and not go with a custom one right away, definitely make sure you label everything, for sure. Absolutely do that. Overall, I'm really happy with how the harness came out. Knowing that I'm basically asking somebody to go and make a custom harness and kind of guess where my sensors were, I was fully expecting to have to go through and adjust a couple of things. So there were a couple of plugs that I had to go and kind of tug out a little bit. I mentioned that in the video, how routing the harness and everything, some of the injector plugs were kind of tight, so I had to go through and kind of tug some of them out of the looming and everything, but that wasn't a big deal. The only one I actually had to extend was for the map sensor. The placement on the harness, it looked like it was actually supposed to be at the back of the manifold, and I have mine, as you saw in the video, kind of up between cylinders 3 and 4, 2 and 3, between cylinders 2 and 3, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, it's in the middle of the intake manifold. So I did have to go and extend that out about 6 inches-ish, but yeah, overall, everything else plugged right in. All the sensors and everything like that were good to go. All the plugs were good. They were brand new. Really great quality. Super fast turnaround from Cam over there at Tweak Performance. Overall, I'm super satisfied with it. I would definitely go back and do it again. So if you guys are thinking about doing a Tweak Performance harness, I will go ahead and put the link in the description of the video to their website. Give them a call with any questions you have. I did have them go through and wire up a couple extra sensors. I don't have an oil pressure sensor yet, nor do I have the VVTi cylinder head, but I did have them go ahead and wire those things up in advance. So if you are going to be making future modifications to your vehicle, they can go through and pre-wire that stuff for you, which is really cool. So you don't have to go back and add it on at a later date or anything like that. It's really nice. So, but yeah, overall, that's it. I got to go through and get to editing this video right now. It is currently 1 o'clock Sunday morning with daylight savings time. I don't know, maybe that's 2, maybe that's midnight. I don't have any idea. Anyway, alright guys, that is going to do it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or commentary or anything like that, please leave me a comment in the section below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I will see you all very soon in the next video. Thank you all so much again for watching. I will catch you next time.